3 months ago, Andy went to his doctor complaining of a tremor in his left hand. The doctor he visited tried to be sympathetic and reassuring, but warned Andy that soon there would be a long list of things he would no longer be able to do. Gardening, driving himself to where he wanted to go, holding a paintbrush to canvas. Little would happen immediately, but he would have to prepare himself for what was coming in the next few years. For now, he could still enjoy his porch, watching the evening progress, something he liked to do from time to time, sitting on his wooden folding chair. The sun was going down, and it was twilight. He noted the late summer days were getting a little shorter. In the sky, the just discernible full moon appeared just above the horizon, pale against the dimming sky. He could hear the unseen cicadas with their rhythmic chant, and a soft breeze carried the unmistakable scent of summer as it blew through the trees. There was no other scent like it, a mixture of trees, flowers, and just a little humidity. Andy scanned the neighborhood, making sure everything was in its place. Over in the trees, he thought he saw something move. There, next to that tree trunk. What was it? The bushes in the neighbor's yard. Did they just rustle? Was something behind them? Did something just run between those two parked cars down the street? It was too large to be a dog, too small to be an adult. A child? He turned away for a moment, intending to call his wife through the screen door, then thought better of it and turned his eyes back to the street and watched for a moment. Whatever had been moving before had faded into the dusk. After a few more moments of sitting on the porch, Andy smiled. It was just the kind of summer night he remembered as a boy, playing kick the can with the neighbor children until near dark, when the fireflies came out and parents whistled and called loudly for them to come in. What he wouldn't give to run and play kick the can again, to have that energy. He closed his eyes and he could see Shorty McGinnis being chased by Paul Lamphere, desperately racing for the can before he got caught. Shorty always got caught. His legs were shorter than Paul's, or anyone else's for that matter. Andy had been to both Paul and Shorty's funerals that year. The cicadas continued their chant. Slowly, very slowly, the rhythm of the cicadas was joined by a booming bass drum. First distantly, then louder, drowning out the cicadas. Boom, 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 it went on. Andy had the feeling that each boom was a passing year. But which direction? God, no, he wasn't aging faster, was he? He looked down at his hand. It had ceased to tremble. The skin on his hands became smoother, and age spots faded with each strike of the drum. Boom, 25 years gone. He could clearly read the street sign on the corner. Boom, 20 more years. The silver was gone from his hair. Boom, 10 more years. The paunch around his midsection receded. Boom! He was 10 years old. Around him now, he saw the familiar street he grew up on. The mailbox on the corner, the old, slightly decrepit Victorian mansion stood on the other corner, sometimes the subject of scary stories told to the younger kids on the block, because it was occupied by a lone elderly woman with a disagreeable personality. Its paint was just showing the first blisters that would later peel. He ran a block to the west, toward the unofficial triangular park, bounded by a trio of streets running at diagonals, leaving it an undeveloped island, uncontaminated by the boring playground equipment favored by well-meaning adults. Fireflies. There were fireflies. In the center of the triangle sat an empty 2-pound Folgers coffee can, the kind Mrs. Olson used to pitch on television. Suddenly, Jim Jenkins came barreling toward the Andy from the left. Andy spotted him in time and took off toward the can. He reached it just ahead of Jim and kicked the can. "Ollie, ollie, oxen free!" From behind the trees and bushes, a half-dozen neighborhood children emerged, laughing and shouting. Then the game began again. The children played the game over and over again, each time ending with someone kicking the can and calling all the other players in. Andy listened to the hypnotic rhythm of the cicadas and watched the sky. He thought the stars would begin to come out faintly soon, but they didn't. The game went on. The faint twilight remained static, never changing. Only the pale, nearly invisible moon in the half-lit sky. The game went on. Andy began to tire, calling for a timeout, and sat down on a tree stump. He was amazed that he could run once more, and that he didn't have to worry about falling down or being able to get back up. Kenny Miller came over and sat down beside him. "Should be getting dark, but the street lights ain't come on," Kenny observed. "Wonder why?" "I dunno," said Andy. "Kinda weird. Dad hasn't whistled for me to come in yet." "Your dad's got a mean whistle. I bet it can be heard for 3 blocks, almost as loud as a train whistle. But he hasn't whistled yet. Let's go." They got up and resumed the game. The evening sky remained the same. Lights did not appear in the windows of nearby houses. The children kicked the can once, twice, 5 times more. "I can't run anymore. I'm going to sit down," whined Lisa. "My legs are going to fall off," groaned Shorty. "Wimp," teased Paul. The others sat on the ground, and Andy stood watching the unchanging half-lit sky. The breeze blew, but no one was cold. The temperature stayed just as it always did on a warm summer night. After a few minutes, Paul proposed another round of kick the can. "I'm still tired. I'm going to sit this one out," said Andy. He sat down on the tree stump and watched the others hide and chase each other. Then, far in the distance, Andy could hear the bass drum again. This time, it sounded more like a heartbeat, syncopating with the cicadas, who chanted with it. Now the sky did begin to change, but the others took no notice. The clouds rolled in and darkened until the streetlights came on. The bass drum began to accelerate its beat, leaving the cicadas behind. The other children paid it no mind, just kept on playing as if childhood would last forever, as if challenges and difficulties and worry would never make their acquaintance. Suddenly, a bright flash lit the sky with a sizzling sound and a tremendous thunderclap. Andy closed his eyes when the lightning flashed, and he held them tightly closed, afraid to open them again. When he did, his childhood friends had faded into the dark, and he was no longer sitting on a tree stump, but on the wooden chair. Across the street lights had come on, and lights shone from neighbors' windows. The yellow moon shone brightly high in the sky. From the railroad tracks, a quarter-mile away, a train whistle sounded. It was short, high-pitched, and loud. Andy's wife turned on the porch light and poked her head through the screen door. "Andy, you coming in?"